Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I'm just being me in a world that isn't, next to the Salomo Dancehaul Pro. I rode this with Union Atlas and Ride Torrent boots. I got this in a wide variety of conditions. Every day I rode this, I compared this to the Dancehaul at the end of the day. When it comes to sizing, I really felt good on this 52. I think it works very well for my boot size and pretty well for my weight. I thought I'd be Chris Farley, fat guy in a little coat on this, in my low 190s right now, but actually it did a very good job. I wanted to try the 154, but they didn't have a Dancehaul Pro and Dancehaul in 154, so I went 152s to make sure this is a proper comparison. I think 154 would be a little more difficult to turn, but if you like to go faster and carve harder, maybe get a little more float, the 154 would be a better option for somebody my specs. So let's do a quick summary / the Good Ride dating app, some things that might make you want to swipe right. This has a very centered feel for a tapered directional board. More pop than the regular Dancehaul. This has a faster bass than the regular Dancehaul. This has a little stiffer flex, so in good conditions, it feels a little more aggressive, can go a little faster than the regular Dancehaul. It still butters pretty well. It ollies amazingly well. And it's a very fun ride for a pro model. Some things that'll make you want to swipe left. If you're looking for that tapered, directional, surfy ride, this isn't for you. This feels very centered between the feet, more like a tapered directional twin. This does not handle uneven snow as well as the Dancehaul. I will say I was very impressed with this though. When it comes to the shape, this is tapered and directional, a much bigger nose than tail, but it's centered on side cuts. So when you set this up on reference stands, it's surprising how centered this board feels. This does not have that tapered, setback, surfy feel like it looks if looking at this nose and tail. When you set it all the way back, it has a little bit more of that tapered, directional, surfy feel, but not as much as you would think. When it comes to camber profile, there's a decent amount of camber underfoot. This is the same camber profile as the Dancehaul, a good bit of camber between the feet, transitioning into a little bit of early rise before the tail, and what seems like maybe a touch more before the nose. Just to prove a point, you can see laying the Dancehaul over the Dancehaul Pro, they have almost the same exact camber profile. This feels very stable and easy to ride like a full camber board, but a good bit more forgiving. I'd say a strong intermediate on up could have a time with this, still be able to skid turns when you get off your game, and it's not gonna feel full on catchy, but yet it'll still 1 foot really well off the chair and flat base down a long flat cat track very well. When it comes to edge hold, there is very good grip. I wouldn't get this if you ride on the East Coast, you can do better, but overall, this has very competent grip. So let's talk Dancehaul Pro Flex. You can see there's a pretty medium stiff flex. On snow, it's a lot more medium than it looks in studio here. You have a softer nose than the center, a good bit of give at the very end of the tail, but right here where the camber ends, it's very stiff. And overall, you have a really dynamic poppy flex. It's incredibly easy to ollie. It's surprisingly easy to butter in the nose and tail. It's definitely a step up from the Dancehaul in terms of pop and ollie power, and the Dancehaul is already very poppy, so that's saying something here. You get a little more chatter. It's not as smooth and easy riding in uneven snow. If I was riding all day, I'd still choose the Dancehaul, but this is much more bearable. When it comes to speed and pointing it, this is stiff, and in good conditions, you can go much faster on this than you can the Dancehaul. I think it reverses in uneven snow. This doesn't do as well. It's just too poppy, and this carbon fiber along the edge can buck you a little easier out of your line in hard uneven snow or soft uneven snow. If you want to go fast, you want a stiff damp ride, this isn't for you. But if you have to straight line to get through a long traverse, this will not fight you, and the side cut doesn't feel hooky. Doesn't feel like it wants to turn on you when you're going straight. The bass glide on the Dancehaul Pro is exceptional. I really liked it. I definitely felt a noticeable difference in glide between this and the Dancehaul. The Dancehaul's no slouch, especially for that price point. It's better than a lot of boards out there, but this really had good glide, especially with an Alfredo wax job. Alfredo works with Salomo. I was just always going first when I was on this board when we had a traverse. When it comes to turning, this initiates a turn really well, really quickly for my size 9 boots and my 190-ish pounds. When I got the edge committed, this has a very turny feel to it. It really likes across the groomer carves and circle carves, but it can, down the line carve, make longer, drawn out turns pretty well too. I love the spring and pop out of the turns in good conditions. This was so satisfying and fun. I liked it better than the regular Dancehaul. The Dancehaul though, as the conditions start to change, I started to like that better because it doesn't have carbon in the edges, and it seems like it might have a little extra ABS, like where they gave their pro models and a lot of their boards ABS sidewalls instead of cork and wood or whatever they were doing before. Now it seems like all of them are more damp, more smooth over uneven terrain than past models, and I really like that. This is the better good condition turner. The Dancehaul is the better regular condition turner. The spring out of the turn is super satisfying, and I had a really fun time carving this. Now, when it comes to powder, I didn't get this in powder, but I got the old Dancehaul I owned in a lot of powder and really stress tested it. So these have the same shape set back on board, same camber profile, same everything, except for this is just higher end construction. This is gonna glide a little better in powder, but it's gonna have the same float, and that floats pretty good. And if you set this all the way back with a full-size disc at a 21-inch stance width, you can get 4.375 inches back from center of board. That's pretty good setback on board for a board like this. It doesn't transform into this super slashy, turny, surfy board, but it floats better than you would think for how it feels on the reference stance when you're there. I wouldn't get this as a dedicated powder board. Let's say your other board is something very twinish, like the Assassin Pro or even the Highlander. This is gonna do a little better. You could do a lot better though for a dedicated powder board or for something more powder specific with something like the Taka series. Those are gonna have much better flow. Like I've said in some other places, this rides switch incredibly well for how directional it looks. I kept throwing it around switch and I really enjoyed it. You can hit really big kickers, it's gonna be good. Pipe would be really fun with this. Our pipe isn't up yet, but I would have loved to have tried it. Wouldn't want to jib with this. That would be better with the regular Dancehaul. Overall, I was super impressed with the Dancehaul Pro. In the past, when the Pro models had the cork sidewalls, they were a nightmare to ride in anything but perfect snow. This wasn't as good as the Dancehaul in uneven snow, but it was much better than any other Pro model I've tried. It's still a very recommendable board for those of you who ride in good conditions, want more pop than the Dancehaul, want a faster bass than the Dancehaul. This could work for you.